Nothing is evil in the beginning. And there was a time when the world was so young.
Rings of Power Episode 1 Review. We begin with a prologue from a young Galadriel and her life. Things are going great for her and her sailing ship until the other elves decide that throwing rocks at her ship would be fun. Not a good plan, as Galadriel is quick to anger and use violence. Lucky for the elf who sunk her ship, Galadriel's brother saves them, then gives her some terrible life lessons about rocks and ships.
Why a ship floats and a stone cannot? The stone sees only downward, but the ship has a secret. Her gaze is not downward but up, fixed upon the light that guides her.
We are then shown an interesting vista of the home of the elves with the two trees that pass very quickly and give the backstory up to the show about how Morgoth destroys the trees instead of Ungoliant, a monstrous spider. The elves then take up arms and travel to Middle-earth. We quickly move past what might have been interesting battle scenes until we get to her brother's death and her quest for vengeance against his killer, Sauron. After spending over 100 years searching, she finds his last known location, but is unsuccessful in her search and only finds a forge and a torture room combined. And for her troubles, she kills a snow troll that attacks them very quickly by herself. A very disappointing fight compared to the cave troll in the Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring. After this, her troops revolt against her as she is taking things too far. The other elves with her lay down their weapons in enemy territory after just being attacked. What are they thinking? Do they want to be killed? We then change stories from Galadriel to some Harfoots, not hobbits, because we most likely don't have the rights to use the word hobbit. They hide from everyone and live a nomadic life. They don't seem to wash and have literal bushes in their hair. Some children go off, led by Nori Brandyfoot, to stuff their faces and somehow don't get eaten by wolves who literally stare right at them but do nothing. Honestly, boring and pointless scenes. We then move on to Elrond in a tree as he is informed that Galadriel has returned and rushes to see her. In his talk with Galadriel, she informs him that the great evil is still out there and that she needs to get back on the hunt and must talk to the king. We then move back to the Harfoots and Nori dreams of more to life than what the Harfoots have. Moving on, Galadriel and her troops who revolted get some new laurel wreaths. I would have wanted new armor because it just does not look good at all. The king Gil-galad then informs her that she is being given the honor to travel to Valinor for her services. I do like some of the imagery with the tree in the scene. It moves on to the night where the elves celebrate those honored, but Galadriel informs Elrond that she wants to stay and always imagined that her image would be carved into a tree like her brother.
It is over. The evil is gone.
But you have not seen what I've seen.
I have seen my share.
You have not seen what I have seen.
And must hunt Sauron, even if she has to do it alone, to give herself closure, to which Elrond tells her that in Valinor she will be healed, and he would take up her revenge if there was even a hint of evil. We then move to the Southlands, where the elves have been watching over the humans, who once sided with the enemy. The humans living there are distrustful and wary of elves, and of the character Arondir, who has gone to ask them if there's anything to report out of the ordinary, to which they reply, nothing. After dealing with an angry youth and calls him a knife ear, he goes to talk to the local pharmacist, Bronwyn, who gives him some rare seeds, saying they are used for healing, to which he replies, elves heal quickly and they don't really need healers. He then leaves and is told not to pursue a relationship with her as they don't work out well from his elven companion. As they get back to the watchtower, they are informed that they can now return home as they don't need to watch over the humans anymore, which all the elves but Arondir is pleased about. He then goes to see Bronwyn at her home as she is teaching her son to make medicine. He informs her of the elves leaving and to confess his love to her. They are interrupted by a farmer wanting to check the health of his animal, which they find has been poisoned, and Arondir decides to go check the area where they have been told the animal had just been to. Bronwyn decides that she is going as well, rather than informing the elves of what's going on. Very stupid. As they are leaving, her son and his friend decide to check out the innkeeper's storage and find a hilt to a sword with the mark of Sauron, which he then keeps. We once again go back to Galadriel, this time on a ship to Valinor in that bad armor again. It then transitions to Elrond as Gil-galad says that he sent Galadriel away as she may be keeping the evil alive that she wanted to destroy. And Elrond will now work with Celebrimbor on an important project. To the Harfoots again, and their leader feels
Skies are strange.
Moving on, Arendir and Bronwyn talking on their way to the next village where the poison cattle believed to have come from. There's some sexual tension and they see smoke and find that the town is destroyed. Bomb, bomb, bomb. Back to Galadriel on the ship and some elves take off her armor and take her weapons from her and the other elves with her just before they enter Valinor. As they get closer to the light of Valinor, the more hesitant she gets and starts hearing her brother's stupid advice about rocks and ships again as she looks at his dagger. Then a meteorite crosses the sky and we get a point of view from all the characters seeing it as Galadriel moves closer to the light, and just before she enters, she rejects the light, jumps into the sea with her brother's dagger and is left there to swim back hundreds of miles across the sundering seas to get to Middle-earth. At the same moment, Gil-galad picks up a corrupted leaf and the meteor crashes just in front of Nori Brandyfoot and she sees a man where it lands. So there we have it, my thoughts on the episode. It was boring and drawn out in many places. There's very little talk about in terms of music when it's compared to the Lord of the Rings trilogy. There are some nice vistas and interesting battle scenes, but they are over so quickly and not fleshed out when they could have been a series in itself. The main character, Galadriel, was one note on revenge and not very likable, believing herself to always be right and that everyone else is almost holding her back. The elves did not have the same feel as those in the Peter Jackson movies and could be mistaken for humans if not for the ears. So some work really needs to be done there to make them feel ethereal and different. Did not care about the hobbits or what was happening with the humans. Another thing to note is the poor dialogue that drags you out the story at times and makes you question it. So not the best start to the series and no real hook to get you excited, be it for adults or children. We will see if it picks up in the next episode.